On November 8, 2016, Donald J. Trump, a real estate mogul and reality TV star, was elected the 45th President of the United States. His victory was a shock to the world and a clear rejection of the political status quo. At the heart of Trump's campaign was the slogan, "America First." This wasn't just a catchphrase. It was a promise to pull the U.S. back from costly international commitments and focus on domestic priorities. Trump argued that America had carried the world's burdens for too long, while its own workers and infrastructure suffered. Millions who felt left behind by globalization rallied to his message. America First marked a sharp break from the post-World War II consensus, which saw U.S. prosperity as tied to global stability. Trump challenged the liberal international order America had built, alliances, institutions, and shared values. He saw these not as strengths but as constraints. In his inaugural address, he declared, "From this day forward, it's going to be only America first." The U.S. would no longer act as the world's policeman or benefactor, but as a nation driven by self-interest. This was more than a policy shift. It was a redefinition of American identity. For 70 years, the world had relied on a U.S. that stood for democracy, free trade, and collective security. Trump's rise signaled a possible end to that era. His rhetoric suggested a retreat from global leadership, leaving allies and adversaries uncertain. The world watched, unsure of what this new, unpredictable America would do next. The era of American exceptionalism faced its greatest test from within. America's role in the world was suddenly up for debate. The rules of the game had changed overnight. Trump's approach to America's alliances was immediate and jarring. He viewed NATO and other partnerships as business deals, not sacred commitments. Trump called NATO obsolete and berated allies for not spending enough on defense. This rhetoric unsettled Europe and Asia, where leaders suddenly questioned U.S. reliability. Security guarantees became conditional, forcing allies to rethink their own strategies. In Asia, Japan and South Korea faced pressure to pay more for U.S. protection. The trust that underpinned these alliances was damaged, and the perception of America shifted from reliable protector to unpredictable partner. Nations began preparing for a future where U.S. leadership could no longer be assumed. Trump's America First agenda took shape through dramatic withdrawals from global agreements. The U.S. pulled out of the Paris Agreement, rejecting global climate cooperation and leaving a leadership vacuum. Trump also withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, despite international inspectors confirming Iran's compliance. These moves isolated the U.S. and created rifts with close allies, especially in Europe. America's willingness to abandon major diplomatic achievements signaled a new era of unilateralism. Allies were left to manage the fallout, while adversaries saw opportunities in the chaos. The U.S. was no longer bound by global consensus, but was now going it alone. The world had to adjust to an America that could walk away from its own commitments. Trump's America First vision meant a radical overhaul of global trade. He saw trade deficits as proof America was losing and imposed tariffs on rivals and allies alike. The trade war with China disrupted global supply chains and rattled markets. Trump renegotiated NAFTA, resulting in the USMCA, but the changes were more incremental than revolutionary. His aggressive tactics strained relationships with neighbors and trading partners. The administration weakened the World Trade Organization, undermining the rules-based system the U.S. had helped create. Trade policy became unpredictable based on leverage and bilateral deals. While some countries were forced to the table, many allies felt alienated. America's role in the global economy was fundamentally altered. The world's reaction to Trump was a mix of confusion, alarm, and, for some rivals, satisfaction. Allies in Europe and Asia were unsettled, forced to reassess their reliance on the U.S. policy shifts announced via Twitter blindsided partners, and eroded trust. European leaders began discussing strategic autonomy, less dependence on America. Meanwhile, adversaries like Russia and China saw opportunity in the divisions. Trump's approach weakened Western unity, allowing rivals to expand their influence. The U.S. retreat from global leadership accelerated the shift toward a multipolar world. America's unpredictability became a strategic gift to its competitors. Under Trump, America's global image suffered a dramatic decline. International polls showed plummeting confidence in U.S. leadership, especially among allies. America First was seen as isolationist and selfish, not assertive. The U.S. withdrawal from global agreements and chaotic domestic crises like the COVID-19 pandemic damaged its reputation. America no longer looked like the shining city on a hill, but a nation divided and struggling. its soft power and moral authority eroded, making it harder to rally international coalitions. China and others used this void to promote alternative models of governance. The world now saw America as unpredictable and unreliable. The Trump presidency left a legacy of uncertainty for the world and for America itself. Trust in U.S. reliability was shaken. Allies now hedge their bets and seek security beyond Washington. The American-led order was exposed as fragile, dependent on active U.S. commitment. Rivals like China and Russia advanced their own visions for the world. Domestically, deep divisions over America's global role became central to politics. The bipartisan consensus on foreign policy was shattered. Any future president faces powerful headwinds if they seek to re-engage globally. America's position as sole superpower is no longer guaranteed. The world is more fragmented and nationalistic, and America's role is now a subject of intense debate. The future of U.S. power depends on how it answers the question, what kind of leader does it want to be?